What's going on? Back today. We're going to get the rest of this interior out, get the glass out of the car, and then get this body ready to finally come off the frame so we can get to work on the chassis. Man, it's just, what a beautiful day out today. Never thought I'd be working on my car in being from New Jersey, I never thought I'd be working on my car in January in short sleeves and it's 70 degrees and sunny, but that's happening, so I'm going to take advantage of the nice weather today and get a bunch of this done. So here we go. We're pretty much just going to fast forward all this. This is all self-explanatory. I'm just going to yank the rest of all this ductwork out of here that I'm not using. Unfortunately, I left this hanging and it broke the other clip, but whatever, I'm not using it. It doesn't really matter to me. Somebody needed that, sorry, but it is what it is. And then we'll get the rest of these rear panels out, get the back windows out, and then some of the trim pieces off the roof and so on and so forth. So here we go, rock and roll. Again, be careful by the windshield that you don't snap shit off. Any kind of push clips I always try and put back in if they'll stay. That way you don't lose them because they are really easy to lose and really easy to break. All right, that takes care of up until the wire harness, which we'll get to soon. I'm going to focus on the interior today, so let's just keep going on that. I do like to usually, when it comes to wiring, make my own harnesses, and I'm like really particular about wiring. I like it neat, I like everything soldered, I like a heat shrunk. One thing I do really like about G-Body, so I do really like the fuse blocks. They use the regular size fuse before all these minis and maxis and all these crazy shit all came out. They do have a lot of accessory stuff in them, so if you're running, like this car will still have headlights and all that. So the good thing with the fuse blocks is they have a lamps accessory on them, which you can power all your gauge lights with if you're driving at night or you track at night or whatever. They do have a lot of battery hots, auxiliary, key on hots, ignition, they call them ignition 1, ignition 2 in the block, where you just tap into it with a regular spade connector. So I probably am going to reuse 90% of what's on that fuse block. I'll get a wiring diagram, chase back, see what amperage was on a lot of these other circuits, and maybe the wiring that's there may be perfect for what I have to power up. That's the kind of stuff that you could kind of try and plan the best you can for it, but wiring at the last minute, there's always another wire you forgot if you try and do it ahead of time. So because this car is going to have a good amount of wiring, it's got a MSD 7L3 in it. It's got a 2-step in it. You know, you can have a neutral safety switch and a shifter. It's still going to have reverse lights. Like a lot of this stuff is going to be reused. It's already wired through the car once you put the harness back in, so I will reuse that. So a lot of that I will still mark and figure out, and then, you know, look up the circuits and see what they're tied to. And once the fuse block's out, it's kind of easy to trace the wiring anyway, but always a good thing to kind of keep in mind. Whatever was factory on the car has worked for so many years. You don't always have to go with like an aftermarket painless harness, especially if you're running a lot of like your stock lights and stuff. So always a good thing to keep in mind. All right, now we're going to get the rear panels out. Pretty self-explanatory, it's just screws. In here, but if you see that you have to loosen some stuff up and then pop the clips, which a lot of these do, they just snap. There's not much you could do about that. It's just the way it is. Just so you guys are aware, depending, even back in the 70s, they use this Torx head. These seatbelt mounts, T50 and T500 are almost identical. It's the end that's shaped differently, and the seatbelts are actually a 500. The 50s will just slip right out of them. So just a little point so nobody gets super aggravated trying to take a stupid seatbelt bolt out. You could actually still see the repair we did on the quarter where we cut it in and then butt welded it in. That was done years ago, very quick before I closed my shop. So you can see into your quarters right there and your wheel housing. All right, because I missed that and didn't have the camera on the other side, I'll show you guys on this side so you know what I'm talking about. This you can just pull out. Once that's out of your way, we can just walk the rest of the seatbelt stuff through here. All right, starting with the top clip, you gotta just give it a little persuasion. Don't go insane, but you gotta push a little bit. And just walk that through. This one's being difficult. Of course, the other side that I wasn't filming went easy as pie. There it goes. Let's get the seatbelt out of the way. Then your buckle. Gotta fish this through. It does fit. Pull that through, and last but not least, this part's a little bit tighter. Slide this up, get that through first. And then the last piece of it. So you don't have to cut your seat belts to get them out, because sometimes you're doing stuff like this and it doesn't seem that there's a notch. You get aggravated. Don't do that. It's going to make you mad when you go back together. Again, I'm getting rid of all this sound deadening stuff because I don't care about any of that. So taking the other side apart, I have to show you guys this. This is weird, but I found a ice scraper stuck up in the wheel housing. There's a little snow broom stuck up right in that housing on the inner fender. Must have got up over the wheel housing in the trunk. Who knows how long ago, and she's a classic. That's a beaut.